Everyone at a crit's like at the top end of racing, whether you're a Cat 5 or not. Like,
Sure.
you still have to be in it and trying to win. Where gravel, there's only 30 dudes there trying to win, and then there's 1,000 people that are just there to ride their bike and then have a hot dog at the end of the race. Like, the vibes are just totally different, which is great. Like, you go to a crit and nobody's even smiling. They all got their game faces on, and then you go to a gravel race and even the 5 dudes on the front starting line trying to win are chatting it up and having a good time.
What's going on, everybody? My name is JP, and I want to welcome you here to the Stable Cyclist Podcast, where we talk about bikes, life mentality, and of course, when the occasion arises, we will deep dive into mental health. My guest today is Trey Shepard. And Trey might sound familiar to you, or if you're watching on YouTube, look familiar to you, because Trey has become quite the YouTube sensation along with Jesse Smith, and they run the YouTube account The Bicycle Station, as well as The Bike Shop, which has kind of turned into this online boutique shop. It's really unique. The story is incredible. I had a chance to meet Trey at Unbound and spend quite a bit of time with him. And I have also, at the Wahoo 100, spent a lot of time with Jesse. You will hear more of Jesse's story in the future. We will likely have him as a podcast guest, but he is going to be featured as a lost chapter in our Lost Chapters Wahoo series later in the springtime. But today we're talking to Trey, and we're going to dive in deep on what it's like to move through becoming a bike racer and then becoming famous on YouTube, and how that has kind of affected him. It's a really fascinating conversation. I'm excited to get into it. Before we do, I want to remind you that the Stable Cyclist Podcast is sponsored by Flow Formulas. If you do have a big race like the Wahoo 100, like I just did, you're going to want something in your bottles that's going to keep you going. And this year at the Wahoo 100, I drank no less than 3 gallons of Flow Formulas during that 12-hour effort. I had no GI problems. I felt fantastic late into the day, and I was doing somewhere between 120 and 160 grams of carbs per hour without any GI distress. And those carbs were coming in the form of their endurance drink mix and their endurance chews, which taste great and go great in your back pocket, where you can just pull them out and eat them. So if you are getting ready for an adventure of any kind, whether it's just daily training or a weekend adventure, or even something really epic like a lifetime milestone race like the Wahoo was for me, you're going to want that Flow Formulas in your bottle. And when you go to checkout, you can use the code JohnPeter15 to get a little discount on what is in your cart. All right, let's get Trey Shepard in the studio. Trey Shepard, welcome to the Stable Cyclist Podcast. This one's really fun because it's personal, and I actually kind of know you, and I think there's a lot we're going to dig into later, but our story kind of starts at Unbound, when we literally walked into I would call it the Chase Wark Drew Dillman house at exactly the same time, and we're like, hey, I kind of recognize who you are. What are you doing here? So, welcome to the show, man. We're going to dive into all that good stuff, but welcome.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Super excited to be on. This is my first podcast experience, so it's cool to be on with somebody that I know and that I've talked to before.
Yeah.
Not just a stranger on the street.
Well, and even so, I think it took a little arm wrestling to get you on here and convince you, like, hey, we should have this conversation.
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah. That's okay. That's okay. So before we hit record, I told you normally I come with a whole bunch of questions written in my notebook. My notebook's pretty empty, other than some stuff we're going to talk about relevant to Unbound and hanging out together. But obviously, we're going to start with how you find the bike and what that looks like, and then we're going to kind of go from there. So, because that's always a great starting point, right? It kind of forms paradigm for the rest of the story. So how do you find the bike, and what does that look like?
Oh man. I'd say this goes like way back to when I was really little. I like grew up on a bicycle. Like my whole childhood, I guess I should set the scene. I grew up in the middle of nowhere. Like closest house to mine was like a mile away probably. So summertime, like I didn't have the neighborhood gang of friends to hang out with. So I was basically just out on my bike riding around in the middle of nowhere and would ride to like parks close to me and stuff. So grew up just always on the bike, but really like going fast on a bike started in high school. I had some friends that were into triathlons, and I was like, that's something that looks like fun. So I got like a real bike and did a couple triathlons in high school and then some more in college and then got into crit racing and then just last year basically switched from crit racing to full-time like gravel racer. Yeah, I'd say that's how it all started.
Okay. What does the crit racing look like in there? Are we regional? Are you on a national level? Um,
Um, Somewhere in between, I would say.
okay.
Did some like national level races. Had some success at some national level races, but it was still, I don't know, I'd say on average middle of the pack pro level racing
Okay.
is how I would put it. Yeah.
Okay. And who were you riding for during those times?
The last team that I was on was First Internet Bank, and they're still around, still kicking it in the ACC level crit racing and stuff like that.
Okay.
But yeah, that was the last team that I rode for.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And I'm probably going to get crushed by the crit bros for this, but gravel racing is quite a bit different from racing crits, just from a in time and activity. So
In training and racing both, yeah.
yeah.
It's way
So
different.
how do you decide, like, I'm going to go do that, even though I've been doing this super high power output and short stuff?
Well, so I don't know about all crit racers, but a lot of crit racers like dabble in gravel racing because there's always a local gravel race or two to wherever you live.
Sure.
And if you're a crit racer, you're like, oh, that one's like 30 minutes away. I might as well just go and ride my bike with some people, try to have some fun. And then you do that and you realize gravel racing is so much more fun than crit racing. One, because it's kind of like you get to choose how well you do in an event. Like you can train hard
Sure.
and get yourself to the finish line, where crit racing is 75% luck almost. Like you could be the best person in any race and the chance of you winning is still not very high. Like there's
Sure.
so many variables in crit racing, which kind of sucks sometimes. Like you
Hmm.
try really hard and then you end up 27th or
Yeah.
something. Where in gravel racing, if you try really hard, there's a good chance you're going to be close to the podium at least.
Yeah. What is that first gravel race that you decide to go and do?
I don't know if it was the first one, but one that's been local and that I've done since its inception is the Dust Bowl in Indiana,
Yeah.
which is the only 100-mile gravel race in Indiana, and it just brings a big crowd and it's a ton of fun. So I think if that wasn't the very first one, that was one of the first that I did.
Sure.
Yeah.
And how was that first time doing
Oh,
it?
I can remember the first couple times I did it. It was awful. All the first gravel races I did, I was like, gosh, this is so hard. It's totally different than crit racing where it's 5-6 hours on the bike instead of just 1 hour. Yeah. But ton of fun, a lot more camaraderie and good times are had in gravel versus crit racing.
Sure. Why do you think that is? Because I've noticed too, like that was my first impression. And of
I
course, this
think,
was like 12 years ago when I raced gravel for the first time coming from road, that I was like, whoa, the vibe is way different here.
yeah, I think that all stems from the not top end because everyone at a
Mm,
crit's like at the top end of racing, whether you're a Cat 5 or not. Like,
Sure.
you still have to be in it and trying to win, where gravel, there's only 30 dudes there trying to win, and then there's 1,000 people that are just there to ride their bike and then have a hot dog at the end of the race. Like, the vibes are just totally different, which is great. Like, you go to a crit and nobody's even smiling. They all got their game faces on, and then you go to a gravel race and even the 5 dudes on the front starting line trying to win are chatting it up and having a good time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's because the crit guys know they might. There's a high probability of crashing in what they're about to do. Also,
That's the other thing. Like, the start of every race, you're like, this could be another collarbone going down today. Like, you just never know.
So
Yeah.
you did the Dust Bowl a bunch of times. It
Mhm.
sounds like, but you didn't make the switch until this past year. And
Yeah.
what kind of finally pushed you into, like, not only am I going to go do this, but I'm going to train a lot for it?
I think that comes down to how I was doing okay in gravel races, like getting top 20 or so at the local races, the bigger local races, and just realizing that I wasn't training enough or training the wrong way. And I was like, I can't do both of
Sure.
these things. Like, I was trying to do long rides on the weekend, like after a crit race or something. And that was making me worse at crit racing, trying to do the long rides. But then I still wasn't doing good enough at gravel because I was still doing sprints 3 times a week or whatever instead of tempo workouts and that type of stuff. So I was like, I got to pick one. And
Sure.
if you have to choose between the two, it's a pretty obvious choice there. Yeah.
Yeah. So then how do you go about, like, laying out a schedule for a year and kind of a discipline you have not really, I mean, you've dabbled in it, but you haven't
Like a
really,
race schedule?
yeah. Like, what does that look like?
There is no schedule. I'm like fly by the seat of my pants. Like, I know a couple races. Like, I'm gonna end the year with Big Sugar. I'm
Sure.
gonna go to Unbound this year. Like, the ones that you gotta sign up for early, and the big ones that I'm like, I know I want to go to those. But the rest of them, it's just like, oh, I think I could probably do that race next week. Yeah. Like, I'll do that. Like, I'm just now deciding if I'm going to go to Gravel Worlds or not, and that's like less than a month away.
Yeah. Well, you
So,
should. Then we'll see.
scheduling
Then
is-
we'll see each other again.
Yeah, I
So,
think I'm going to go. I
Yeah.
need to just sign up and like commit. Commitment is hard, you know.
yeah. I don't know if there'll be like 30 of us shoehorned into a house again. And
I hope so. That was a good time.
it was a good time.
Yeah.
We, sharing a
I don't-
couch with Drew
I
Dillman
didn't
every
mind
night
being
was a
on the
wild
couch in a
adventure.
basement.
Yep. Yep. Wasn't there like a giant Star Wars Lego set or something down there too?
There was that. There was some other things that were much more weird than a Star Wars Lego set. I
Like a
don't
stuffed
know what
turkey?
was
Was
going
there a
on.
stuffed turkey down there?
Yeah, there was some weird stuff. It was a little creepy, but hey, man, I slept
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah. All good. So I think as much as people might know you for racing the bike, they probably know you more or have now heard your voice and seen your face if they're watching this interview and they're like, oh, I recognize that guy. You're known more for the bicycle station and what you're doing on YouTube. And that's where I think we're going to spend a lot of time today.
Yeah.
And I want to kind of hear how that gets started. Before we get to the stuff you and I talked about at length on the bike at Unbound, I wanted to hear kind of how this got started, how you developed your YouTube channel. This is just like the curious creator in me. And yes,
Yeah.
I know you and I have had this conversation, but not everybody else was there. So tell us about how you and Jesse got this thing going.
So Jesse started it not long before I started working at the bike shop, the bicycle station. And then, so he had a couple videos up. Definitely wasn't a serious thing at all at that time. And then I started working there, and just one day wanted to make some bike build video together. Did that. It did okay. And then we were like, we just need to keep making the videos. Like, people enjoy them. And it's good for the business. So we just got to keep rolling them out. And even still to this day, it's always kind of awkward getting on camera and just making a video about building a bike. You're like, who's going to watch this? And then we post it and thousands of people watch it. And the experience at Unbound really showed me how many people watch our videos. It was kind of crazy.
Yeah. Quick interruption to remind you that the Stable Cyclist Podcast is sponsored by Works Cycling Services. Works Cycling Services, yes, it is a coaching service, but probably much more important to you is that it is a race directing service as well. And they have 4 of the best grassroots races that you can participate in the upper Midwest. You got Granny's Gravel Grinder, which is right in central Minnesota in Princeton, and there are multiple distances that you can come and participate in, whether you want to bring your kids and do a shorty, or you're chomping at the bit as an elite and you want to race over 100 miles. Then in mid-June, you have the Hot Dish down near Winona, Minnesota. There is no better beautiful Minnesota riding than in Bluff Country down in southeastern Minnesota. And that race, again, has multiple distances that you can race. Again, from shorter distances up to 100-mile plus distances. Then early August, first weekend just happened, is the Day Across Minnesota, the Dam. That's the big daddy of the 4. That is an ultra-endurance adventure that starts at midnight in Gary, South Dakota, and finishes across the river in Wisconsin once you make your way across the great state of Minnesota. And finally, things round out with the Filthy 50, which of course is a 50-miler in Lanesboro. It is a beautiful time of year in October when the leaves are changing. That, of course, was originally started to help get people who maybe are scared of the 100-mile distance into gravel. So all of these events are great places to get new people involved in gravel racing and gravel riding and having an adventure. And if you've got that friend that maybe you think is a little bit scared to come and do something new, bring them ride with them. I saw at the Matahe how important it is to have a friend with you the whole day who's just got your back and can be your wingman. So find somebody in your community and bring them to one of these events and do the shorter distances. You still get all the vibes and the good atmosphere that comes with these races. And if you come to Granny's Gravel Grinder, you're still going to get a hug from Grandma no matter what distance you do. So as you plan your 2026, yes, we are already doing that, planning 2026, be sure to be looking at workscyclingservices.com and the races on offer there, because I promise you, you will not be disappointed with any of the choices available. All right, back to our interview. So I want to hear your process for making these videos. Because the stuff you do is you do videos on quite high-end builds or on quite high-end bikes. And so you're not just, unlike you deciding to go to the local race because it's around on a whim, this must take some planning for you guys to be like, we're going to do this video, and it takes some budget too, I would assume, to put it all together. So I kind of want to hear the process of like, if you can pull back the curtain a little bit.
So I guess a lot of the high-end builds are something that me, Jesse, or Chase is going to ride. And we definitely use that as like a form of putting the business out there, the bikes out there, the things we want to sell. Like I've been on the Envy Mog for over a year now and make a lot of videos with it because it helps sell a lot of that bike.
Yeah.
But basically, whenever a new bike comes out that one of the 3 of us are stoked about, we're like, we got to get this bike in and we got to make a video on it. And that's usually all the process that we need to get going, is just get the bike in and make a video. And a lot of the times, not a lot, some of the bikes we build on there are customers' bikes, and we're like, this bike's going to be awesome, we should make a video with it. If they're doing some sort of extravagant thing that we want to put on the internet, or it's a bike that one of the three of us don't have, or we don't want to spend the money on getting, we'll use the customer's bike to make the videos. Then we can't do like a review on that bike or anything, which
Sure.
we always try to do when it's one of our bikes, but still cool content that we could put out there.
Yeah. How much has the actual business of the bike shop changed as your channel has grown?
That's interesting because when I started, we were definitely a local bike shop making YouTube videos with no real change in the business at first. And then once we started like the custom build side, now the business has flipped like a full 180, and like 90% of all the business we do is people emailing or calling in saying, hey, I want this bike built up with these parts, and we build it up and then we ship it to them. And it's like maybe 10% is local people come in the shop and buy stuff from us, but almost all of it is custom build online business now, which is, I think, a pretty unique scenario for a bike shop. I don't think there's very many other shops out there doing what we're doing.
Yeah, I know 100%. That's crazy. And I know when you told me that at Unbound, I was like, what? Like, you mainly make custom bikes? But you have 22,000 subscribers on your channel, and it's all these, you've proven like you do these custom builds and can get these custom brands in there.
Yeah.
And so that totally makes sense in today's day and age. And so you're shipping bikes all over the country at this point.
Yeah, all over the country. Yeah, whatever somebody in California wants, they send us an email and tell us, I want this bike with these wheels and these parts, and we build it for them, put it in a box, and ship it to them. It's a pretty simple operation for them. On our end, it's a little different.
Yeah.
Is that mower outside way too loud?
Who's mowing the lawn at 7 and 8 in the morning? It's all good. I can voice isolate and post.
Sorry about that. They usually mow on Mondays. I don't know what's going on.
It's all good. Okay. So the thing I remember, you and I, it was the day before Unbound, and this had kind of been happening already. And we had been there since maybe Wednesday. So it's Friday, and I'm out on a pre-ride filming with you guys. And at some point, everybody basically had left me. And you were the nice soul who came back and was like, well, JP's probably lonely back here trying to, and lost, which I was. And so you came back to ride with me. And I would say like 1 out of 20 people would say, hey, JP. But I'm not kidding when I say like 19 out of 20 people were like, hey, Trey, hey, Trey, hey, Trey, hey, Trey. And these are all strangers. These are people who speak different languages, all out doing their pre-rides. Yeah. And you just looked at me and said, this is really weird. Like, I wasn't ready for this. Yeah. And it was kind of fun being with you in that, like, almost an identity crisis of I'm kind of famous and I don't know what to do about it.
Yeah.
And so I want to talk about that realization first of all. Just like, what was that weekend like, aside from in the race your wheel blows up and you can't finish? But I think that weekend kind of was transformative for you, so tell me all about
it. That was like a little bit mind-blowing to me. From the first day we got there, I remember we got there, I drove there, went to the house, and I was like, I need to stock up on some Gatorade. It's hot out. So I drove to CVS, and when I was in CVS, I had 2 different middle-aged dudes come up to me when I'm like grabbing some Gatorade, and they're like, oh, Trey, what's up? I watch your YouTube videos. Nice to see you. Good luck at the race, whatever. And I was like, that's so weird. Like that someone recognized me in CVS, and then 2 people recognized me in CVS.
In the middle of Kansas.
Like,
and you're from Indiana.
Not even that, like a few days out from the race. Yeah. Because I've been to races before, and 1 or 2 people come up and they're like, hey, I've seen you on YouTube. And I'm like, cool, thanks,
Yeah.
appreciate it. And then it just snowballed. I would go to the expo and it's like hundreds of people were coming up, uh, saying they watched the YouTube videos, asking for pictures, asking for my autograph. And I'm like, I'm dude, I'm just making a couple YouTube videos because it's part of my job. Like, this is insane that so
Yeah.
many people, like, I don't know if look up to me is the right word, but enjoy the content, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you said to me, I don't know what to do with this while we're riding. Right. And like this is where I pull back the curtain on like a very personal conversation, but it fits with the kind of stuff we talk about on here, which is a lot about identity, right?
Yeah.
And I I was like, yeah, it's been weird too for me, but not to the level of you. How did you deal with all that, or how have you dealt with all that in a healthy way that doesn't make like your girlfriend want to hate you guts or anything like that, you know? Because sometimes we experience those moments and we come
Yeah.
back and they're not humbling. They like build us up too much.
Yeah.
And most of the time when people come to me and talk, they'll tell me they really enjoy what I'm doing, and then they'll tell me a story about how their life has gone sideways, and that's always humbling, right? That
Yeah.
you're helping those people.
Yeah.
But I'm curious how you dealt with that moving forward after Unbound.
Okay. So Unbound was like a little bit of a different experience because it was such a big event. So I
Yeah.
haven't had to deal with quite the same situation since then. But at Unbound, at first it was super cool. The first 30 or 40 people that came up. And then I remember the first day I was at the expo and I was trying to leave because I had to go pick up my girlfriend from, I forget, the airport, or she was getting food or something. And I kept feeling my phone ring because she was calling me. And I'd go to answer it and another person would come up and try to talk to me. And and that kept happening over and over and over again.
Yeah.
I would like start to walk toward my car, get a phone call, go to answer it, and she would call me. And I was like, I understand like when people say it's frustrating, like being well known in public. This sounds awful. But it was just like the weirdest experience having that many people know you. And I just I tried to handle it the best that I could, just
Yeah.
talk to every single person, whether it was 1 minute or 5 minutes, because a lot of those people really enjoyed the talk and like wanted to tell me about their bikes and that they bought these tires from us. So that was the best thing that I could do, is spend as much time with each one of those people, because I know they really enjoyed it, being a fan of the YouTube. And I think as long as I'm not like in a rush to get to the start of a race, that's probably how I'll continue to handle it. Is just
Yeah.
spend time with these people because they enjoy they enjoy the chat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It's, I basically shadow Chase Wark at all these races, and he deals with the same thing.
Yeah.
And he and I, of course, have talked a lot about it, how it's just like you have to honor everybody.
Yeah.
And sometimes that's inconvenient, but ultimately, like, it's more important to honor them. And once in a while, I'll know that like we are on a time deadline, and then I always tell him, I'm like, well, I put on my manager role for a little bit and just told you we're leaving. But aside from that, like, it's just about honoring people, and they want to talk to you for a reason because you've had an
Yeah.
impact on your life,
Yeah.
on their life. And that's, for me, what always, you know, some of those best moments that I've had getting to talk to people that listen to this show or watch my stuff are when we've been tight on time and we've just taken a moment to talk to them. And then a lot of times I'll get DMs from them afterwards with more info, but
Yeah.
it's, just it's like my parents always taught me, treat people the way you want to be treated
For
and
sure.
things will
Yeah.
go well. So
Yeah.
yeah, what makes you, when you're making these videos, what gets you most excited to do one? Are there certain parts, or are there certain ideas that you're going to approach in these build videos that get you most excited? Because I would assume after a while it gets a little bit redundant, just like, well, we're building another high-end bike.
It definitely does, especially when it's like a green NV Mog, because it's built like 40 of those now. And every custom build, when I have a meeting with somebody to build up a new bike, and they're like, I'm looking for a new gravel bike. And I'm like, what are you thinking about? And they're like, I think I want the green NV Mog. And I'm like, yeah, that's what everybody wants, man. But the things that get me most excited are like just new, cool products,
Right
basically.
on. Yeah.
Just the newest, blingiest high-end bikes. Like, it's awesome it's like Christmas when we get a brand new bike in for like the first time any of us have seen that bike. And you pull it out of the box and you get to like get the first hand, like, you immediately start like reviewing it in your mind. You're like, oh,
Yeah.
this isn't the way I wanted it, or this is perfect. I love the way they did this. And then get to talk about it on camera.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. The other thing I want to talk about is you were in a race about 3 weeks ago, maybe a month ago, across Michigan,
Yeah.
and it did not go according to plan in one way.
In one way. Yeah.
In one very specific way. You were doing coast to coast in Michigan, and it was really interesting watching this kind of play out through the day, because my friend Derek Wallace was in the race, so I was kind of getting like commentary from him afterwards. But you and Drew and Chase and I were in a group text, kind of learning about what was happening. You're in the race, you win the race, and then you are relegated. And the story that I heard after from Drew, I was really impressed with just how you guys handled it. Because initially when you guys texted what happened, I was like, oh, this could blow up so bad, because you got two like YouTube superstars on the bike that just it went sideways, and like, what are these videos going to look like? But tell us a little about the story for people who maybe don't follow you or Drew.
Okay.
Yeah. What was the day like? And
so that was the Michigan coast to coast gravel grinder, where you start on the east side of Michigan and you end the race on the west side of Michigan. You ride across the whole state, 200 miles of gravel, lots of deep sandy, like double track and some single track and stuff like that in there. But the very first aid station is 50 miles in, and it does the aid station splits, the road splits, so you can go like left or right, and you could go right into a parking lot or stay left on the road. And neither Drew or I knew that his wife was in the parking lot, because there was a whole bunch of people on the left hand side of the road, like holding out bottles for like hand ups.
Sure.
So we assumed that was the aid station and assumed that's where his wife was going to be. We rode through there. She was not there. We were not sure why she wasn't there, because we rolled through real slow, got to the end, and I was like, Drew, did you see her? And he's like, no, I didn't see her. And then he's like, I hope she's okay. And he's like, he didn't have his phone. I had my phone. He's like, can you send her a text to make sure she's like all right? And I just texted her. I was like, hey, we didn't see you at the first aid. Is everything okay? Never got a response. And then like a couple miles up the road, we see her minivan at like the bottom of this downhill. And Drew's like, there she is. There she is. And so we pulled over and got bottles from her there. And obviously that was against the rules. You're not allowed to take outside feed. But I guess we were just like, yeah, might as well have our own drinks. At this point, I had already gotten almost both of my 2 bottles filled up from other guys I was racing with. They're like, hey, I got plenty of water. You want me to pour some in your bottles? And I was like, yeah, sure. That'd be sweet. So plenty of cool dudes that are very spirited gravel guys that wanted to help out rather than, use it as a competitive advantage and me not have water.
Yeah.
But honestly, Drew or I didn't think it was that big of a deal that we stopped and got our feed right there, regardless of it being against the rules. And there was, if you've watched either one of our videos, there was one guy that got really mad and started yelling at us for doing that. He yelled at Drew's wife as he rolled by, which is super uncalled for, which we didn't learn about until after the race when his wife told us that.
Yeah.
The in-race situation would have been a little different, I think, if we had learned that part of it.
Yeah.
But yeah, post-race, we just went up to the race director. We're like, hey, we had to grab our aid station stuff outside of the aid, and if you have to DQ us, that's cool. And they ended up giving us a 10-minute penalty instead, so we still got to finish the race technically, I guess.
Sure.
But yeah, that's what happened. I didn't really care one way or the other. It was super cool to win a race regardless. Like,
Yeah.
I know I still had a good day on the bike, whether I was 5th place or 1st place.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it was in hearing this story, I was impressed that you like had calm heads by the time you got to the end and just went straight to the director. Was like, look, this happened. Yeah, you might need to do something, and that's fine.
Yeah.
But it kind of encompasses who you and Drew are, and as I've been around you, what I've gotten to see, that just like you guys like to do the right thing or correct the wrong thing if it happens. And so, yeah. So you said maybe Gravel Worlds. What else is next, I guess?
Dust Bowls this weekend,
Sure.
which it sounds like a little local race, but it now caps the registration at 1,400 people, and it sells out in a week.
Yeah.
So I'd say it's like not really just a little local race anymore. It's kind of a big deal to get that many people out.
Sure.
I know last year there was some like sponsored athletes there from SRAM, because SRAM and Zip are local to that race as their like main factory, warehouse, whatever you want to call it, is in Indianapolis, which is like less than an hour away from the race.
Sure.
So I don't know if there'll be more SRAM sponsored athletes there this year or not.
Yeah.
But yeah, got that race. I know for sure I'm doing Little Sugar and Big Sugar at the end of the year.
Okay.
Probably doing Gravel Worlds. I'll probably go to Schwam again to just keep doing the Grand Prix races. Because you got to fake it till you make it. And outside of those races, there's not a lot else on the calendar.
Yeah.
It's hard to race every weekend like Drew does or whatever when I got a job.
Yeah. Chase has been doing the same thing for like 5 weeks, and I'm like, this is, and I've been with for 3 of them, and I'm like, this is a lot. I don't know how you guys do it who are actually racing. Yeah. So, all right. That's been kind of serious talk. We're going to ask a lot of dumb questions now, or fun questions, however you want to look at it.
Okay.
And let's say that you and I end up on the bike again together, but we're not doing a pre-ride at Unbound.
Okay.
And I'm not lugging around like a 60-pound backpack. We're going to go on a ride somewhere, and at some point, we're going to run out of supplies, and we're going to have to go to a gas station.
Yeah.
So, and I will not accept Dylan Johnson's answer of, well, I'm just not going to run out of supplies. I don't do that. Like, we're having fun here. So we're going to run out, and we got to go to a gas station. And this is not the beautiful, sexy quick trips or on the run or, fill in the blank beautiful gas station. This is rural, maybe wood siding on the building.
Okay.
And a lot of stuffed fish and animals inside on the walls. So it's small, but
they got something like that around here.
Yeah. Okay. So you know what I'm talking about. They have the goods, but not everything. Yeah. So what are you getting to eat and drink on this gas station ride?
So drink is easy. Couple Gatorades and I'm good. Unless it's like 100+ miles, then maybe a Coke.
Okay.
And then food wise, depending on what I'm feeling, either Pringles or a pastry, which usually is just one of the big iced cinnamon rolls that are like 1,000 calories. Um, yeah, that's all I need. A couple of those and I'm good.
Okay. And are you going for, if you go up to checkout and there's something in cellophane or tinfoil on the
Like a
counter,
cookie.
yeah, a cookie or a scotcheroo or,
I've been tempted by the cookies. Yeah, I've
okay.
gotten cookies before, but that's that's a heat of the moment thing, whether it
Yeah.
looks good or not.
Well, and it can be a bit of a gamble, you know?
Yeah,
So,
they can. Yeah, I got a
all right.
muffin once, and it was definitely up on the counter for a week before I got it.
It
So
had lived a long life.
stay away from the muffins from now.
A muffin's pretty heavy to eat mid bike ride too, so you gotta,
It was, yeah,
yeah, you gotta have a lot of caffeine to chase that if you do
yeah.
that one. So, okay, next one. When you are out riding, are you a music listener?
All 24/7.
Oh, all the time. Okay,
If the
interesting.
AirPods die, I basically call an Uber and don't finish the ride. Like, I gotta have something playing, whether it's a podcast or music in
Sure.
headphones at all times.
Okay,
Uh,
so what's on the Trey Shepard hot mix of music?
oh gosh. I so first I'm really bad with like artist names and names of songs. I usually there's some rap song playing and I'm like, this is kind of good. So I'll click the little three dots on Spotify and just click go to radio and it just plays songs similar to that song and I just listen to it. I don't I never like look at the name of that song that I think is good or know who's singing it. I just know it sounds good in my ears and I want to hear more stuff like that.
Sure. Letting the algorithm guide you.
Yeah. Yeah, big time. I don't have like a playlist or anything. It's just all based on whatever Spotify wants me to listen to.
Okay. Similarly, when you're working in the bike shop and doing
Yeah.
a build, do you have music on in there?
Usually Jesse controls that. And
Okay.
most of the time it's good enough unless it's country and then I just want to like go outside. I can't do country music, but anything else I can vibe with.
All right. Is he trying to play country a lot or just
No,
sometimes?
that's like once a week maybe
Okay.
at most.
Okay. Fair. Uh, so this next question, whether you're a Wahoo athlete or not, is brought to you by Wahoo.
Okay.
Uh, and I'm curious what is on your screen of your computer. So I only have like a couple things on mine as I'm on my go-to screen, right?
Yeah.
Obviously, you can swipe through or click
Yeah.
through whatever you want, whether you're using a Wahoo or a Garmin or Hammerhead or whatever. But
Yeah.
what does your main screen always look like?
It's always the same. At the top I got total time, total ride time, and total distance. Below that, really big, is power. Um I have heart rate on there and I think like lap power. So if I'm doing a workout, I can lap it and know like the average power for that lap. And I think that's all that's on there.
Okay,
Yeah.
sweet.
Keep it pretty simple.
Yeah,
Got the basics. If I'm mountain biking, just time. I don't want to see speed or anything else or heart rate because you go up a hill and you don't want to see that heart rate. So just put time on there and call it good.
sure. Fair
Yeah.
enough. Okay. Next question, very important for the
Okay.
fan base. Do you like Harry Potter or Lord of the Rings?
Oh gosh, this is gonna disappoint a lot of people. I couldn't remember the last time I saw either one of those movies or read about them in a book. I I probably watched Harry Potter when I was in like first grade, and that was the last time.
Sure.
Not a big movie fan at
Okay.
all.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, see, people are gonna be mad.
Yeah, it's all good. It's all good. I love that. I think you just like gave us a little bit of a sign of your youthfulness with your like, I watched him in first grade and I'm
Yeah.
like, oh,
I do
okay.
remember I had like a Harry Potter comforter on my bed when I was little, and I don't even know why, because like I probably watched it once or twice.
Sure. Yeah. Okay. All right. Fair enough. Fair enough. All right. You mentioned grace. This is
Yeah,
a newer question I've
yeah,
developed for people that I know are in a solid relationship.
yeah,
But when you have the chance to spend quality time together, what do
yeah.
you like to do?
We go on a lot of bike rides together. Um, we try to ride together as much as we can, even though sometimes it's hard because I have to ride hard sometimes, and when I have to do that, she can't quite keep up. So she spends a lot of time in the draft, but it's still cool because between intervals or whatever, we can still chat and hang out. So we do that together a lot, and then we do a lot of like hikes with our dog, or just going on walks with our dog. We spend a lot of time with the three of us hanging out outside. Yeah,
Sweet. Sweet.
yeah,
All right. Uh, Last one is kind of a two-parter. And what's a race that you have done that everybody should go do? And then what's a race that you have not done, but you're looking at and you're like, I would really like to go do that race?
okay. A race that I've done that everybody should go do, I think, is Leadville, because it is the most humbling race you could ever participate in. And it it doesn't matter how fit you are, you'll go there and it will just crush you. Especially if you're from Indiana and not Colorado, and you spend 9 hours on the bike just hyperventilating. It'll destroy you. But outside of how hard it is like the most beautiful scenic mountain views the entire race.
Yeah,
And if you love the mountains, like, you got to go. And you got to go to Leadville outside of, like, the town of Leadville, outside of Leadville Race Week. It's
sure.
a totally different town, just small town vibes, lots of coffee shops, lots of hikers coming in and out. Cool
Yeah,
place to be.
yeah,
And then a race that I would want to do is, I know it's top of mind, but I've been thinking about this for a long time, is one of the races in Iceland.
sure.
Because I've always wanted to go to Iceland, and I've always said I don't really care to travel outside of the country other than going to Iceland. It just looks like a different planet that I want to go see.
Sure. So I take it you're not going this year.
Not going this year. No, I want to go so bad, but not this year. Gotta find a job that lets me leave work for more than a week so I could go race in Iceland.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, similar problems. I think we
yeah,
both got asked in the same scenario, and I think both of us had to turn it down for what you just listed. So it's all
yeah,
good. It's all
yeah.
good. Yeah,
Same problem with Leadville there. You need to be
yeah,
out there for like a month,
yeah,
and work will not let me go ride my bike in Leadville for a month to train for the race. But
for
that's okay.
sure. For sure. Cool, man. Well, where can people, we talked about the bicycle station, but where can people find you, whether it's on YouTube or on Instagram?
Yeah, definitely go to the Bicycle Station YouTube channel. Um, Subscribe there. Watch me build some bikes or talk about my racing, that type of thing. Not much personal stuff on there. For that, go to Trey Shepard 1 at Instagram, and that's my personal Instagram.
You
If you
got it
want to
back.
learn more about me, maybe. Yeah, yeah. And then there's Built by Trey, which is my other Instagram that started out as just bike stuff, but then my personal Instagram got shut down for like a month and a half. So Built by Trey got a lot more personal over that month and a half.
Sweet, man. Sweet, man. Well, thank you so much for joining us today and being
Yeah,
vulnerable about how you've kind of felt the past year. And this was awesome to just
yeah,
chat more.
yeah. Thanks for having me on, and I'll see you at Gravel Worlds for sure.
For sure, man. Thanks for hanging out with Trey and me today. If you enjoyed this episode, I would really appreciate it if you shared it with someone who you think will enjoy it. And if you also want to really go hard on the algorithm, I would appreciate it if you're watching on YouTube, if you could give us a thumbs up or leave a comment. And make sure you are subscribed, please and thank you. If you are listening on the audio platforms, you can leave a 5-star review, and that helps move the needle with the algorithm as well. And if you are listening on Spotify, they do have the comment feature for the episode, so leave us something there, and that would be amazing. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for supporting what this show is and helping it to grow to the lengths that it has in just over a year and a half of existence. I hope you can get out and ride today. I hope you can go have an adventure, keep fighting the fight, and most importantly, remember you are loved.